You are listening to the Yummy Mummy Podcast, episode number 190.
Welcome to the Yummy Mummy Podcast, where you will learn brand new and shockingly different tools to lose weight for the last time. And now, here's your host, certified life and weight loss coach, Laura Conley.
Hello, Yummy Mummies. What's going on? The doors for the Yummy Mummy experience are open as of yesterday. So go to lauraconley.com and click Work With Me if you want to join the July cohort. Imagine it's 2025 and this is not even on your list of goals anymore. Oh, so good. So head over there if you are ready to take the plunge. You guys know I always talk about ready as a decision, not something that happens to you. So go do it if you want to lose weight for the last time. I have a very, very, very special guest on with me today. I'm so excited. I'm like beaming. My client, Sierra, is here, and she is going to talk to us a little bit about her experience inside the Yummy Mummy experience and kind of who she was before and who she is now. I'm going to have her introduce herself to all of us, to the audience. So, Sierra, welcome to the podcast. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you live, and what do you do? You got kids, just like give us a little intro, and then talk to us a little bit about what your before was like. What was your life like before you lost weight for the last time? Tell us about your struggles, a little bit about that, and we'll go from there. So welcome.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. It's interesting that we're doing this podcast today because I actually discovered you exactly 1 year ago. So,
oh my gosh,
yeah.
That's so fun. I love stuff like
circle.
That. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I am a pediatrician in Tucson, Arizona. I have 4 kids. My oldest is 7 and my youngest is about to turn 2. So it's been a crazy few years.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really struggle with my weight for most of my life. I never really had great healthy eating habits, but it wasn't really an issue until I started having kids. And then every single time I had a kid, it kept taking longer and longer and longer to lose the baby weight. And then life just kept getting more and more hectic. And I just kept using food to self-soothe and to bring peace and joy. And I ended up feeling worse and worse about myself. So
I think that's so common and so normal. I do get a lot of clients that have struggled their whole lives, but then I get clients who are just like you, who really haven't had to worry about it. And then they start having kids. We start getting older. The life stresses just add on. Perimenopause starts to loom. And it just gets harder and harder. And the things that we used to do that work don't work anymore. So I love that you bring that up because I think that is a huge part of our audience for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, part of it was the frustration with just being heavier, being a year postpartum and still being 15 pounds above my pre-pregnancy weight. I had this vision for my life. I really wanted to be a mom. I really wanted to have kids, but I wasn't enjoying it. I just felt tired all the time and I was cranky all the time and the kids wanted to play and I didn't want to play because I just was exhausted and run down.
Yes,
and it was like, this is not what I had in mind. This is not what I dreamed for my life. So
yeah, I can totally see that.
How I discovered you. So I am a pediatrician, so I'm a doctor. I had been listening to Katrina Ubel's podcast, Weight Loss for Busy Physicians, for a few years. And you were a guest on her podcast. And on that episode, you were talking about leveraging your future self. And that really resonated with me because I am someone that had wanted to be a doctor my whole life. I had wanted to be a mom my whole life. So I always had this vision of my future self. I just didn't use that terminology for it.
Yeah.
And then I basically spent 30 years becoming that. And so then when you were talking about not just weight loss, but, you know, who are you? Who do you want to be? What kind of decisions does that woman make? That really just clicked with me. Like, oh yeah, I can imagine that person. I can become her with some commitment and some time and some effort. So after that episode, I started following you on Instagram and listening to your podcast. And then you did a weight loss challenge on your Instagram leading up to your birthday. And I just was all in. And I ended up losing 8 pounds just in that 1 month from your Instagram challenge. And so that was my moment of, whoa, if I can lose 8 pounds just by following you on social media, like I really just need to sign up for the Yummy Mummy experience and see how far I can really take this.
Totally. I love that. Okay. And then tell us right before we hit record, we were talking about this. What what really sold you on moving away from sugar and flour? Because this is a concept that is floated around kind of in the bubble, like with the Katrina Eubanks and some of the other weight loss coaches that I know. We do promote no sugar, no flour. It's not something you have to do inside the Yummy Mummy experience, but I feel like it makes weight loss a lot easier. And so you had heard about this concept for a couple of years, but hadn't been sold on it. So tell us a little bit about what sold you on that concept and what helped you take the leap.
Yeah, I basically never got on board with it before because I literally was like, I don't know what I would eat. Every single one of my meals has flour or sugar in it. Like, I don't even know like what I would do. But then you had phrased it as, we don't really need these white powdery substances in our lives. Why do they have so much power over us? And having that presented to me as processed sugar isn't even real food. It's more like a drug. And that really prompted me to sit down and come up with a meal plan, come up with a shopping list. It's like, there's definitely other food besides flour and sugar out there. And so, yeah, I just committed for that month, and it did take some planning up front. And I was eating different meals from the rest of my family. But then after I made that transition, that was by far my most rapid weight loss, was just eating real food and not having these white powdery substances.
Yeah. Yeah. I love hearing that because I'll get clients and they're like, oh, I can't give up like entire food groups. And I'm like, these are not food groups. These are white powdery substances that the food industry created really to get us addicted and to get us really high. And I'm not demonizing flour or sugar. It's just like the question is like, does it serve us to be eating them? And I love your point around like, I don't even know what to eat. Like, what am I even going to eat if I'm not eating flour and sugar? And so what would you tell somebody that's like struggling now is like, oh God, I can't give up flour and sugar. It's in every single one of my meals. Like, tell us kind of where you are now with flour and sugar.
Oh, it's night and day. I eat a lot of meat, a lot of fruit, a lot of vegetables, and a lot of dairy. I know dairy doesn't sit well with some people, but I do a lot of Greek yogurt and cottage cheese. But yeah, I used to look forward to my Friday night pizza, and now I have steak on my Friday nights, and that's what I look forward to.
Ooh, I love it. It's so good.
Steak
Yeah, you
and
guys.
veggies and mashed potatoes. So
It's so good. Whole Foods. Who would have thought? I feel like it's helpful for the audience to know that there are like literally hundreds of foods that you can eat that don't have flour and sugar in them. So, Ciara, just to get back a little bit to your before, can you take us through a day in the life or just give us little anecdotes around what your life was like why this was a struggle, why you really signed up? Because obviously nobody's signing up for the Yummy Mummy experience unless they're struggling with their weight, with their body image, with feeling good. You mentioned using food to soothe and to create some peace and to create joy in your life. So if you could just like talk to us a little bit about what it was like being you before the Yummy Mummy experience, before you really shifted everything.
yeah, my days are very busy. I work full time and I own my own practice, and then I have the 4 kids. And so every single morning, it just felt like a race to get everyone ready and out the door. And I'd frequently stop at Starbucks and pick up breakfast and pick up coffee because that was easier than trying to make stuff at home. I'd get to work and I would see patients all day. And very frequently at work in the break room, people are ordering food, or we have pharmaceutical reps that bring lunch. There's always some kind of cookie, donuts, dessert in the break room. So then, I had my lunch, go through the afternoon patients, and then I would stop at the break room again and eat more of those donuts and cookies and snacks because I deserve it because I was so busy today. Then, go pick up all the kids from school, daycare, get home, make dinner. Everything's loud because my kids are young and there's 4 of them. So the house is crazy. And so I'm just like, I'm going to have a glass of wine or I'm going to have dessert. And that would be my stress relief. And then, get the kids ready for bed. And then once again, still kind of eating some kind of dessert or something and watching TV to decompress before I would go to bed.
Yeah.
So that was
so normal.
Using lots of sugar throughout the day as like rewards and motivation. And the moment that I'm sitting there and eating the food was like a moment of relaxation. But then it ends up making me feel even more tired and worse afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. It's a vicious cycle, right? Mm-hmm. That's so well said. And so how did you feel in terms of like in the moment, right? You do get that relief or you do get that joy or relaxation, like you said. But then how did you feel 5 minutes later or when you would wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, you don't feel the way that you want to feel or you don't look the way that you want to look? Tell us a little bit about how it felt being in that vicious cycle.
I think it was hard because I wasn't doing things the way I wanted to do them. Like I was so tired all the time and then eating the sugar to like get more energy and get more joy, but then that would end up just making me feel more tired. And so then it was hard to get motivated to see my afternoon patients because I was just tired. And then I get home and it's like I want to spend time with my kids, but I'm just tired. Like I don't want to run around and play tag and chase me because I just want to sit on the couch. But I didn't really like that. That's not what I had in mind for having kids. Like I always pictured that I would be playing with my kids.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think that's so important to like highlight because I think a lot of us can see ourselves in you. Like we work 30 years to create this life, to have these kids, to have this career, and then we create it, but it doesn't feel like we thought it was going to feel. So it's such a letdown, right? It's like, okay, I have this beautiful life, but I'm not actually living this beautiful life.
Absolutely. The other thing that was a struggle for me was as a pediatrician, I'm counseling families all day long about nutrition and exercise and healthy habits and healthy eating. And it was very uncomfortable when it's like, okay, here I am, like I'm clearly overweight, but I'm going to tell you how you should really be doing it. So that felt, just really uncomfortable. Yeah. Whereas now I have like a lot more confidence, like, yes, like I had these maladaptive habits, but this is how I changed them. This is how I fixed them. These are some suggestions for you that worked well for me. So I definitely have a lot more confidence with interacting with my patients and the families and different things that they can try that might fit with them. So.
Oh, I love that because you're like embodying it, right? Versus just giving, I don't know, like I could totally put myself in your shoes. I totally get that. It's just kind of awkward or like, it's just like, who am I to be the one? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's so cool. Okay. So tell us a little bit about, because the audience always wants to know, like, how much weight did you lose? And for you, really, I mean, you talked a little bit about flour and sugar, but what was the key for you that really unlocked weight loss within the Yummy Mummy experience?
Yeah. My total weight loss is 27 pounds, which drives me crazy because I really wanted it to be an even 30, but I think I'm just at my natural weight at this point. So
you guys, Sierra has like a 6-pack, okay? Like, like it's like you can get a 6-pack or an even 30 pounds. I'll take the 6-pack any day.
I want both.
Okay, okay.
No, I'm very happy because I've honestly never been this weight my entire adult life. So I lost the baby weight and then an additional 10 pounds. And it feels great. What was really helpful in the Yummy Mummy experience was having that reflection every day. And I realized as I was going through my day, I was chronologically breaking it down and changing habits one at a time. So starting with my morning, that was like, okay, I can't start the day with a sugary caramel macchiato or mocha or pumpkin spice latte. Like I need to just do regular black coffee or coffee with some cream and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's like, okay, then I got breakfast down. And then the next big thing was at work, like not having those cookies and donuts in the break room. So I really had to focus on managing my mind at work. What am I really looking for here? Okay, how do I get through work without stopping by at the break room 3 different times to have a sugary snack?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then after I figured out what I was really looking for at work, I was looking for just stress relief and that dopamine hit, processing those thoughts, changing those thoughts. Then it was like, okay, now I can move into my evenings and, not having the ice cream at the end of the day, not having a few drinks at the end of the day. And it took time. Like, it's been a year and it was step by step kind of working my way through my daily habits and addressing kind of these weak spots in my day and how I could change my thoughts about it and then what I could either eat instead or just getting in the habit of not eating something at the end of work. Just waiting until I get home and have dinner. So
what a concept.
I know, it sounds crazy.
Well, it's why so many of us don't weigh what we want is because it's so normalized to go to the break room. I used to be a drug rep, so I used to be the one bringing all those donuts. Yeah. That was my old life. And that's what I left. Yep. So I love that you asked yourself that question, like, what am I actually looking for here? And it was stress relief during the day. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so how did you take yourself through that? How did you talk yourself through that? How do you get relief from the stress or how do you process that? I mean, of course, we learn these tools and skills inside the Yummy Mummy, but I'm just curious individually for Sierra, how you did it, Sierra.
Different thoughts for different situations throughout the day. A big one was your assistant coach helping me because she was putting that out, like, what does this cookie really represent? And then I was like, joy, pleasure, relief, relaxation. I was like, okay, well, what are some other things that it's representing? I'm like, the afternoon slump. Like I eat the cookie at lunch and then I feel terrible the rest of the afternoon. So that was huge. Really just fast forwarding, not just future self in 20 years, but fast forwarding future self in an hour.
Yeah.
How is she going to feel?
Yeah.
And
that's so helpful.
When she eats the cookie, she feels tired. So
so let's take care of her now.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so awesome. Okay. So tell us a little bit, and you've touched on this already, but tell us a little bit about what your life is like now. Before we hit record, you mentioned 3 big identity shifts, like becoming a doctor, becoming a mom, and really creating this, which is really fun because I think you're right. I think what we do inside the experience is really change our identity. So if you could just speak to that a little bit, I think it would be cool. What's your life like now? What's your identity now? Who are you?
Yeah, absolutely. My life is the same on the outside. When I go back and I read my journal entries from when I started the Yummy Mummy, everything was so frantic. Everything was a rush. Everything was just crazy. And now my routine is the same. I still wake up. I still go to the gym. I still work. I still do the drop-offs and pickups at daycare, still make dinner, still have all the chores. But now it's just more calm and more joyful. I love spending time with my kids. I love going to work and seeing my patients. So from that perspective, it's the same amount of stuff, but I'm just happier and I'm more content. And then I don't feel this urge to reward myself at the end of the day just for making it through the day. Because now it does actually feel like this is the life I always wanted and what I had always dreamed of. So the day itself was the reward.
That is so well said. Hold on. The day itself is the reward. That's got to be the name of the podcast. The day itself is the reward. Oh, that gives me chills, Sierra. Yes. Oh, I got to write that down too. Oh, that is so, oh my God, that's so eloquent.
Okay, I did not mean for it to be that eloquent.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Mic drop, Sierra. Mic drop.
I'd say the biggest thing is that this isn't a diet. It's not something that's temporary. This is really who I am now. So I do feel like I've had 3 major identity shifts where I have changed who I am and become my future self. The first one was becoming a doctor. Once I graduated from medical school, I am now a doctor, and this is a part of my identity. The next one was having my first kid. Once I gave birth, it's I am now a mom. This is who I am, and I will always be a mom from now on. And then the last one was doing the Yummy Mummy experience. I'm now someone that, uses food for nourishment. I don't use it as an emotional crutch. I don't use it as a reward. I use it for what it's meant to be for. And I still very much enjoy food, and I do still definitely get pleasure from it. But it's not like the highlight of my day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because for so many of us, when it is the highlight of our day, we can't live the lives that we want. We can't have our future self, or we can't enjoy it, right? And I agree with you. Like I can't wait till I have my like strawberries and scrambled eggs with truffle oil and bacon that I'm going to have for lunch after that's like, I'm totally going to get pleasure
amazing.
from that. Yeah. Oh my God. This truffle oil. I'm so into it. It's that brand Truff. It's like Truff. It's just delightful. My husband hates it because he hates truffles, and I like smell up the whole kitchen, and then I smell like it for like 3 hours. He's definitely not getting pleasure from it. But the point is, like, we can still have pleasure from our food. It's just not our number one pleasure. If we're not over focused on it, we're not in this land of over desire, and it's kind of aligned at this point. Okay, so what else would you share about just the Yummy Mummy experience in general? Like, what were some of your biggest takeaways or aha moments or kind of unexpected benefits from doing this experience?
Maybe the most unexpected thing was how fun it was.
You guys should see your face.
Well, I guess, I'm drawing all these comparisons with like becoming a doctor, and I would not say that medical school was fun. Like that was actually pretty miserable, but it was to get me where I ultimately wanted to be. And so I thought that's what this journey was going to be. I thought it was going to be a slog, but it was fun. Like I enjoyed listening to the calls. I enjoyed reading all the entries from the other Yummy Mummies. Like it's just fun. It's joyful. It's playful. Doing a lot of these exercises that you had us do. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I was not I didn't think it'd be miserable, but I just didn't think it would be as much fun as it was.
I love that. That is so fun. Because it's almost unbelievable, actually, that like this journey can be fun. Like weight loss can be fun. You rarely hear the words weight loss and fun in the same sentence.
Right.
And I think that's one of the reasons why it works, is because it's not arduous. We're not just like desperate for the finish line. It's something that's easy most of the time and fun most of the time. And I think that I didn't really realize that. This is kind of a tangent, but thinking about it in terms of my marketing, in terms of like actually highlighting it, telling more people like, hey, this is fun, because I think that's something that makes it unique. And I just kind of do it by accident because it's sort of a part of my identity.
You're just a fun person.
Yeah. It's just fun.
The other unexpected benefit that I was expecting, but just not to the magnitude, is my actual energy levels. It's like one of my biggest things that I hated was how tired I was. And so I knew if I ate healthier and I lost weight, like I would feel better and I would have more energy. But I am absolutely shocked at how much energy I have and how good I feel all day long. Like I really thought the afternoon slump was a normal thing. Like, why don't we have siestas? Like everyone should have an afternoon nap. And now it's like, I don't want or need an afternoon nap. Like I'm great all day long. I can play with my kids at the end of the day. And I just didn't realize that that was possible. So that has been huge. I feel so great in my body. And I just didn't realize like how good it would actually feel to have good energy.
Oh my God, that's so well said. Yeah. And you guys, if you're listening, and you're obviously listening, I want you to hold that possibility for yourself. Like it might even be better than you thought it was going to be. We so normalize the afternoon slump, or really all of these behaviors that were kind of our quote unquote before. And it really is possible to feel light and alive and energetic and want to play with your kids. I feel like that's such a normal, common thing that like our kids want to play with us and then we don't want to play with them, but then we feel guilty for not playing with them. And then we play with them out of obligation. And it's just, it's the worst. And can you just imagine like actually genuinely wanting to play with your kids? One of my highlights of this past weekend was like we played in the backyard. We played soccer for like over an hour, the four of us, like me and my two kids and my husband. And it was just like pure freaking joy. And I always
Yes.
kind of play this game with myself of like sliding doors, right? Okay, if I had been my old self, like would have I played soccer? And it's like maybe, but I wouldn't have wanted to. And I would have just been like waiting for it to be over. Or I
Right.
just would have said no and made up an excuse as to why I couldn't or didn't want to. And it's like, to be able to say yes from a genuine place or to be the one suggesting the soccer game or whatever the thing is it's so awesome. It's so cool.
Yes.
I love that.
I completely agree.
If you could describe the before in one word and then the after in one word or the after/now, how would you describe your before in one word and then your after in one word?
Probably about the same. So before in one word, exhausted. After in
Oh,
one word, energetic.
that's amazing. That's so awesome. So cool. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the sign up process. Like, did you have any hesitation? Kind of what got you over the hump? How did you click the button? Because I know we all have like sweaty palms and we're nervous. We're like, is it going to work? Like, how did you get yourself over the hump? If there was one for you.
There wasn't really a hump because of the weight loss that I had from following you on Instagram. And so I was like, this is already working. I just need to finish the process. And then it
Totally.
really did help that you had the money back guarantee because I was like, okay, well, if I don't end up losing weight over the next 6 months, like, I'll get my money back. But I don't want my money back. I want to lose the weight and I want to feel good. So.
Yeah, no, that's literally why I have the money back guarantee is to help people take the leap of faith. I'm like, I will literally give you your money back. I mean, you're going to lose the weight just like Sierra did, but I think it's helpful. That's so cool.
I will say I did have hesitation about telling my husband. I did not tell him that I signed up for it. And we generally have a rule where we're supposed to talk about big purchases together. But I was like, even if he tells me no, I'm going to be so angry and resentful. Like, that's not going to be good for me or for our marriage. So this is just something I just need to do.
Yeah, it's like pull the trigger, ask for forgiveness later. Don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was well worth it. I definitely came clean at the end of the experience, but it was only after he had actually said a few things along the way, but probably the most meaningful thing he said to me. So I didn't even tell him I was doing this because I didn't want to talk about how much money I spent on it. But yeah, towards the end of the experience, he just totally out of the blue was like, "You're really inspiring to me." And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was just like, you're taking control of your life and you're taking control of your health. And I think that's great. And I was like, so my husband like never compliments, does anything mushy or anything like that. So that was probably the most amazing thing he's ever said to me. So yeah,
so
probably
rewarding.
A few weeks after that, it was when I was like, so...
You know how I'm so inspirational?
Yeah, I had some help with that.
That is so cool. That's so moving and it's so rewarding and affirming. I feel like it's nice to have somebody recognize all the inner and outer work that we do inside the experience, especially your partner.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And then at the end of the experience, I told him that it was over and he was like, well, do you need to sign up and keep going? And I was like, I think I'm actually good, but I'm glad to know that you're supportive and that, if I want to do another round, that I don't have to be shady about it. I can just bring it up.
Sign up. Yeah, I love that too. Like, I want to talk about, like, I think I'm good because we do have the Yummy Mummy Masters and it's there if people want it, but not because they need it. And I love how you articulated that. And I think it just shows your confidence and your ability to, it's been a year, your ability to just keep the weight off. So if you could talk a little bit about just your belief that this is permanent.
Yes, it's definitely permanent. I've stayed within 5 pounds of when my session ended in January. There are definitely times where I went overboard. So one of them was Easter. So I was probably over restricting during Lent. And then for Easter, I just went crazy. But as you say, there's only detours. So that was a really good learning opportunity for me to work through a lot of my thoughts and like, okay, what really happened on Easter with all those, chocolates and cinnamon rolls and pie? And like, I think we need to take a look at that because you still have some thoughts there that need to be addressed. So that was a good experience for me to work through that.
And know how to work through it. Like, I actually love that she's bringing this up, you guys, because the work is not being perfect. That's not what I'm going to teach you how to do. I'm going to teach you what to do forever if there is a detour, and there will be detours, and you still get to weigh what you want to weigh overall. So I actually think that's really helpful because I don't want to put this message out that like you're going to lose weight for the last time and then you're never going to eat a piece of chocolate again. Probably are going to eat a piece of chocolate, but it's not like you throw in the towel until January 1st, 2025, like we all used to do, or at least me. I'll speak for myself.
Right. No, that was a good opportunity for me. But the nice thing was it never occurred to me that, well, it's all ruined. Like Yummy Mummy was a waste of money. Like nothing's changed. Nothing's different. It was just, nope. Okay, we're going to get back on track now.
Yeah, we're just going to learn from that, get back on track. That's so good. I love that. That's so awesome. Tell us about, before we hit record, because this is kind of a fun anecdote, about how much money you've saved. She's like, I was reflecting and I realized I saved so much money now.
Yes. So I was addicted to Starbucks. I started studying at Starbucks in high school with like friends. And that was just like a fun way to study where it's like, oh yeah, we're going to go and get some Frappuccinos and review our math homework, whatever. And then that habit rapidly escalated in college with studying. And so I was going to Starbucks once a day, twice a day during finals week. I would sometimes go 3 times a day because to me, studying in the library was so depressing. And so studying at Starbucks like made it more fun. But of course, I wasn't getting black coffee or unsweetened tea. I was always getting a sugary drink or pastry.
Yeah.
And then, medical school residency, I would stop at Starbucks every day before work, before my hospital shift. And just to paint a picture of how bad this was, my superlative when I graduated from residency was most likely to have a baby addicted to Starbucks. So, that's me.
Yep, accurate, 100% accurate.
Yeah, so then with doing this program, I was like, okay, I can't start my day with a caramel macchiato anymore. Like that's completely sabotaging my weight loss. So from going to Starbucks every single day and getting those like $6 caramel macchiatos to now going once or twice a month.
You paid for the program.
It did. Well, it will. When I like multiplied it out, I've saved about $2,000 from just like my Starbucks habit.
Oh my God. That's so good. That's a riot. Yeah. I love that. It's actually really practical and helpful because sometimes people have to do that in order to get themselves to sign up. They actually have to do the math and say like, okay, if I don't change this at the root, if I don't solve this once and for all, then most likely I'm going to keep spending like I'm spending. And if you do that on whatever it is, it might be Starbucks, it might be cleanses, right? It might be on the other end of the spectrum, but you can figure there is $5,000 in there somewhere. I promise you.
Well, the other one with that too that I was thinking about was alcohol. Like I never was like, oh, I'm going to give up alcohol as part of this. But as I've learned to process my emotions, then I'm not looking forward to that glass of wine with dinner.
Yeah.
And alcohol's expensive. It adds up. Yeah. And so by not drinking every day, that's also saved quite a bit of money. So
yeah, wine is, seriously, wine adds up. I know because I love wine. You know I love wine. But it's true. I save hundreds of dollars when I just have wine on the weekends. Okay, so last-ish question for you. What would you tell somebody who is on the fence. They're deciding. They're like, I don't know. Should I not? Like, what would you tell them to help them make a decision?
To do it because you might feel better than you ever thought possible.
That's so cool. Yeah.
I knew I would feel better. I did not know I would feel this good. So
That's so cool. Okay. Thank you so much. This was a total blast. I feel like I've been grinning from ear to ear the entire conversation. This is going to help so many moms, so many women out there. So truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you for taking the time to share your experience, because there is at least one mom who hears themselves in you and will be forever changed. I'm serious. So thank you. Really.
no, thank you for helping me on this journey and helping me change my life. I'm now actually living the life I always thought I was going to be living.
So cool. I love that. Well, you're welcome. And if you guys are ready, you are, go to lauraconley.com and click work with me and get your booty in for the July round. Thank you again, Sierra. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all have the best week ever. Hey, if you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, I would love it if you leave a rate, review, and a subscribe on whatever you're listening to this podcast in. Pretty pleased with a cherry on top. It would help me so much, and it would help all the other mamas out there hear this message. Thank you in advance. I really appreciate it. And you have to come check out the Yummy Mummy experience. It's my proven lose weight for the last time group coaching and course. Head to lauraconley.com and just click work with me. Other than that, you guys, I would love to give you a free gift. If you want your free listener only gift, go to lauraconley.com/gift. And from there, you will get your free best ever weight loss hack. So cool. The last thing I want to tell you, you guys, is I do have a free Facebook group. It's called, you guessed it, the Yummy Mummy. Lose weight for the last time, end body drama, and get food freedom. You can just search that in Facebook, or again, you can head to the show notes and you'll find the link there. All right, you guys, have the best day ever.